Welcome back to Bestof Redditor Updates, where we dive into real stories of love, betrayal, and people who think fantasies are real life. Today's story is about a boyfriend who thinks love should come with a price tag. Hi Reddit, I'm a 25-year-old woman and I've been with my boyfriend, let's call him Jake, for just over a year. We met through mutual friends and honestly, the beginning was wonderful. He was attentive, funny, and emotionally available, which is rare these days. But over the past few months, I've noticed something that's been quietly eating away at me. Jake is obsessed with adult content. I don't mean casually browsing now and then. I mean it's practically background noise in his life. It's always on his phone. His laptop tabs are full of it. He even has specific favorites bookmarked. And yeah, I know some people are okay with that in a relationship, but for me, it started to feel like I was competing with it. When Jake and I first started dating, everything felt easy. He used to call me every night, even if we'd spent the whole day together. He'd surprise me with coffee, ask about my goals, and actually listen. The intimacy was warm, slow, and mutual. He made me feel seen, heard, and loved. We laughed a lot. We had long conversations about silly things, deep things, future dreams. For a while, I genuinely thought, this might be the real thing. But slowly, so slowly I didn't even notice at first, things started shifting. The random late-night texts turned into short replies. The long calls stopped. Our sex life became more mechanical. He began to mimic things from the videos he watched. No warning, no checking in, just trying things he'd clearly seen online, as if that's how it should be. He also started making odd comments. Stuff like, "You'd be famous if you had an OnlyFans," or, "Girls make 10 grand a week doing this." I would laugh it off, roll my eyes. I told myself it was just talk, just jokes. Everyone jokes like that, right? But deep down, I knew I was brushing off red flags. I didn't want to admit it to myself. I kept hoping it was just a weird phase, something he'd grow out of. I was wrong. It happened one night after we'd finished watching a movie. We were just lounging on the couch when he looked over and said, totally casually, we could make some real money if we filmed something. I blinked, thinking I misunderstood. What do you mean? He smiled, like it was the most normal suggestion in the world. Like, just a short clip, nothing crazy, just us, for fun. No one has to know, we'd split the money. I laughed awkwardly and said, no thanks. That's not really my thing. He didn't drop it. Come on, babe, you're hot. People would pay just to see you. You've got the look. I told him I was uncomfortable, and he just shrugged and said, "You're wasting your looks, honestly. Other girls would kill to have what you have. It's dumb not to capitalize on it." Something about that sentence hit me like a punch in the stomach. Wasting my looks? Capitalize? Like I was a product, a commodity? I told him again that I wasn't interested, that I didn't feel okay doing anything like that. And instead of listening, instead of respecting that boundary, he just said, "You'll regret not doing it when you're older, when your looks fade and you've got nothing to show for it." I didn't say anything after that. I couldn't. I just went to bed early and cried in the bathroom with the door locked. That was the first time I realized that Jake didn't really see me. He saw a fantasy, a moneymaker, a prop in his daydream of fast cash and easy fame, and I had no idea how much worse it was going to get. After that night, I thought maybe he got the message, that I had drawn a clear line. But I was wrong. He started bringing it up more often, sometimes as a joke, sometimes like a business pitch. We could be rich. Do you know how easy it is to blow up online? You already act like one. Might as well get paid. Each time I shut him down, and each time his face changed a little more, less playful, more resentful. Then came the guilt trips. He'd say things like, "You know we could move out of this crappy apartment. My co-workers' girlfriends support them in everything, even this kind of stuff. I guess you just don't believe in me like they do." It was like I was failing him by not turning my body into an income stream. He started comparing me, openly, to adult actresses. "Look how confident she is. You could totally be like her if you tried." I felt like I was being packaged and sold by the person who was supposed to love me, like he had a marketing plan and I was the product. Our relationship became strained. I couldn't look at him the same way. I didn't feel safe sharing things with him anymore. Every conversation seemed to circle back to this same sick topic. When I brought up how uncomfortable I was, he'd twist it. "You're being dramatic. You think you're better than everyone else?" It's not a big deal. The distance between us wasn't just emotional. It became physical, too. He started sulking if I didn't want to be intimate, and if I did, he treated it like a scene from a movie rather than a shared moment. It wasn't a relationship anymore. It was a negotiation I never agreed to. Eventually, being intimate with Jake felt like clocking in to perform a role I didn't audition for. Foreplay? Gone. Softness? Non-existent. It was all rapid, rough, choreographed moves straight from whatever video he had watched that week. He'd push my body into positions I couldn't physically hold, and when I winced or flinched, he'd get annoyed. "You're so stiff. Can't you at least try to be like the girls in the videos?" He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't check if it hurt. He didn't notice when I'd shut down completely. I told him once, quietly, "It doesn't feel good. It actually hurts." He scoffed and said, "Normal women like it this way. You're just too sensitive." That's when I stopped trying to explain anything. He treated my pain like it was a flaw, like I was broken for not enjoying the performance he expected. Eventually, I stopped responding. I just lay there and waited for it to be over, and when it was, he'd roll over and mutter something like, "You're so cold now. I don't get why you're being like this." Because I'm not a character. Because I'm not a scene. Because I'm not your fantasy. I didn't say any of that out loud. I was too tired, too numb. It was late. We had just finished another argument, this time over how ungrateful I was for not doing more in bed. He was pacing the room, listing off all the ways I was failing him, and I had reached my limit. So I snapped. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "You want me to act like a corn star? Fine. Pay me what they make and I'll moan on cue." He stopped mid-rant. "So you are a gold digger." I laughed, bitterly. "If I were after money, I would have never been with you." That broke something in him. He exploded, accused me of being manipulative, fake, heartless, told me I was just like all the other girls he couldn't trust. I stood there as he ranted, and all I could think was, how did I get here? How did I fall for someone who thought love was transactional? I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel angry. I didn't even feel sad anymore. Just empty. Like something inside me had finally switched off. I realized then that I had already left him, mentally, emotionally. The rest was just logistics. The tension between us had been building for weeks, but that night, it exploded. "I can't keep pretending," I said, voice shaking but steady. "You want me to be someone I'm not. This isn't real. It's not love. It's a performance." He sneered. "You're just scared. Scared to give me what I want." "No," I insisted. "I'm setting boundaries. What we see in those videos isn't reality. It's acting, fake, painful for me. I'm not a star and I don't want to be." His eyes darkened. "So you think I'm wrong? That I'm asking for too much?" I shook my head. "I think you don't see me. You only see what you want me to be." He stepped closer, voice rising. You're cold, ungrateful. You don't love me, do you? I love the person I thought you were, I said quietly. Not this. Then, suddenly, he blocked the door. You're not going anywhere. We'll work this out. My heart pounded, but I stayed calm. I've tried. You haven't listened. You need to respect me, or this ends. He lunged forward, shouting insults, but I took a deep breath, turned around, and walked past him. I didn't yell. I didn't fight back. I left the room and the relationship behind. Moving in with a friend felt like stepping into a different world. Safe, quiet, but strangely empty. At first, I was numb. My emotions were locked away, exhaustion and relief tangled in a strange mix. I didn't know how to feel or how to trust my own thoughts. Therapy became a lifeline. Each session helped me unpack what had happened and why I felt so broken. I realized something hard. Love without respect is control disguised as care. It wasn't about passion or connection. It was about power. And I had been trapped in someone else's fantasy, not living my own truth. With time, the numbness began to fade, replaced by clarity. I was more than a role to play or a fantasy to fulfill. I deserved a relationship built on understanding, kindness, and boundaries, not demands and fear. Just when I thought I could start healing, I found out something worse. He had taken private photos of me, without my consent, and submitted them to an adult content site. My stomach dropped. I felt violated all over again. I didn't hesitate. I contacted a lawyer immediately and filed a cease and desist order. I wanted those images removed and him held accountable. Legal consequences were put in motion. I learned about privacy rights, revenge porn laws, and how to protect myself. I knew cutting all contact with him was essential, not just for my peace of mind, but for my safety. The lawyer helped me draft messages to block and report him on every platform. I changed my passwords, secured my accounts. Though it was terrifying, taking control gave me a sense of power I hadn't felt in months. I was no longer a victim in his story. I was reclaiming my life, one step at a time. Recovery didn't happen overnight. It was slow, messy, and filled with ups and downs. But every day I felt a little stronger. My friend's support was a lifeline. Simple things like making me laugh, reminding me I was worth more than his demands. Those small wins, like sleeping through the night or smiling without guilt, meant everything. I realized something powerful. I didn't miss him. What I mourned was the version of him I had hoped for, the kind, loving person who had disappeared. That grief was painful, but freeing. It made space for something new, respect for myself. I promised never to settle for someone who treats me like a product, who expects love with a price tag attached. Love should never feel like a business deal or a performance. It should feel safe, real, and mutual, and most importantly, it should come without conditions or demands that strip away your dignity. I'm still healing, but I'm reclaiming my story on my terms. No scripts, no roles, just me. Hearing this story hits hard. How quickly love can twist into control and how damaging those blurred lines can be. It's a stark reminder that consent isn't conditional and fantasies don't create obligations. Real relationships require respect, not scripts or price tags. The boyfriend's delusions about acting like adult stars and money makes it okay sound more like excuses than love. Honestly, expecting your partner to perform for cash is both tone-deaf and deeply disrespectful. No one should be made to feel like merchandise or a paycheck. Relationships are about connection, not contracts. To anyone reading this, know your worth. Don't let anyone rewrite your story for their selfish needs. And to the boyfriend, newsflash, love isn't about cash or control. Maybe try empathy next time. That wraps up today's episode of r/Payback. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe for more epic stories.